Grade 10 Chapter Sermon at Benaras. This chapter is presented here to share how Lord Buddha had to face lot many problems to gain salvation and enlightenment. Gautam Buddha began life as a prince named Siddhartha Gautama in northern India. At 12, he was sent away for schooling in the Hindu sacred scriptures, and 4 years later, he returned home to marry a princess. They had a son and lived for 10 years as befitted royalty. At about the age of 25, the prince, heretofore shielded from the sufferings of the world, while out hunting, chanced upon a sick man, then an aged man, then a funeral procession, and finally a monk begging for alms. These sights so moved him that he at once went out into the world to seek enlightenment concerning the sorrows he had witnessed. He wandered for 7 years and finally sat down under a peepal tree where he vowed to stay until enlightenment came, and enlightened after 7 days. He renamed the tree the Bodhi tree, tree of wisdom, and began to teach and to share his new understandings. So this is how Gautam Buddha gained enlightenment. What is sermon? What do you understand by term sermon? Sermon here means religious or moral talk. At that point, he became known as the Buddha, the awakened or the enlightened. This is what the term Buddha is referred to here. The Buddha preached his first sermon at the city of Benaras, most holy of the dipping places on the river Ganges, that is river Ganga. That sermon had been preserved and is given here. It reflects the Buddha's wisdom about one inscrutable kind of suffering. What is inscrutable kind of suffering all about? Inscrutable here refers to something which cannot be understood, something that is difficult to understand. What was the suffering all about and how he did try to resolve the problem? Now, there is a short story presented in the chapter where we learn about Kisa Gautami, and she had a son and he died. In her grief, she carried the dead child to all her neighbors, asking them for medicine. And the people said, "She has lost her senses. The boy is dead." So this is how the people commented when they saw Kisa Gautami roaming around to seek help from the people because her son had died. At length, Kisa Gautami met a man who replied to her request. What did he say? "I cannot give thee medicine for thy child, but I know a physician who can." And this is how he directed Kesha to Lord Buddha. And the girl said, "Pray, tell me, sir, who is it?" And the man replied, "Go to Sakyamuni, the Buddha." Kisa Gautami repaired to the Buddha and cried. Repaired here refers to a stylistic use of the term that is repaired means went to. She went to see Lord Buddha and cried, Lord and Master, give me the medicine that will cure my boy. So she requested Lord Buddha to give her the medicine that could cure her child. The Buddha answered, I want a handful of mustard seed. And when the girl, in her joy, promised to procure it, the Buddha added, the mustard seed must be taken from a house where no one has lost a child, husband, parent, or friend. Poor Kisagotmi now went from house to house, and the people pitied her and said, here is mustard seed, take it. But when she asked, did a son or daughter, a father or mother died in their family? They answered her, alas, the living are few, but the dead are many. Do not remind us of our deepest grief. And there was no house, but some beloved one had died in it. Kisa Gautami became weary and hopeless and sat down at the wayside watching the lights of the city as they flickered up and were extinguished again. At last, the darkness of the night reigned everywhere, and she considered the fate of men, that their lives flicker up and are extinguished again. And she thought to herself, how selfish am I in my grief. Death is common to all, yet in this valley of desolation there is a path that leads him to immortality, who has surrendered all selfishness. So this is how Kisa learned about what she could not do and how she should not be in grief just because she had lost her son. For there is not any means by which those that have been born can avoid dying after reaching old age. There is death of such a nature are living beings. So this was the important lesson that was taught by Lord Buddha. So after reading this short story, we learn what is the ultimate truth of life and why Lord Buddha wanted to make Kisa Gautami learn about how uncertain the life is. As we all are mortal beings, we should not grieve the death of our beloveds.